because there are so many COVID cases that are depleting teams and postponing games. Jamie, what do you think of this, about the Premier League taking a break?
I have to agree with Henry, to be honest. I think there probably should be a break, whether it's a week, whether it's 2 weeks. I think it's getting a little bit out of control in terms of games being called off, players not being available to play. Look, we all want games on. They was in a very privileged position in the last lockdown. Football continued. It was great. It helped us all, to have some entertainment. But if I'm looking at solely on football based, I feel like it's losing its kind of fluidity a little bit, the Premier League now. Games are being called off. Teams are playing with hardly sort of their best players. The squads have been depleted. Leeds are losing so many players. Chelsea are, Liverpool are. And I go on. The only example I can go off is Tottenham. So Tottenham had 2 weeks off, Laura. They come back, played Liverpool yesterday, and they had a full squad to kind of choose from again. So that break allowed them to kind of get on top of the COVID situation, get everyone tested, get it all back together where the players have had to isolate if they've had it, and then they come back, open a training ground again and start again. So for me, if you're looking for an example, if it works or not, you have to kind of look at Tottenham and say, yes, that probably is what we should do.
But we have to be led, and if that means having a break, clearly I don't want it, you don't want it, Jamie doesn't want it, but if it's for the best for the country and the NHS moving forward, then it must happen. It's as simple as that. It must happen. And I think we're now getting near dangerous territory, Jamie, where you can make one or two statements about the league possibly being a little bit unfair for some teams. Do you know what I mean? And once you go down that road, it's a dangerous road to go round.
Well, I spoke to Klopp yesterday, and he was really honest with what he was saying, and he almost was kind of getting at the point where he was saying, we've continued to play. We're playing week in, week out. We're playing Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday. They're playing games. Yeah. And he was like, Spurs were fresher. You can't get away from that point. They had 2 weeks off. They hadn't played, and they looked fresher. So there is that unfair advantage. And when you're playing teams that haven't played for a week have had 2 weeks off, it is an unfair advantage. I look at it and I go, as much as I want to beat Liverpool yesterday, you go, no Van Dijk, no Fabinho, Henderson's not well. They've got COVID issues. Oh, what a time to play Liverpool. Yeah. But that's not what we want, is it?
No, of course it's not. And
we don't want that. We want the teams at their best.
Yeah, and I think arguably the biggest disappointing thing that came out the weekend was once again the treatment of the fans. I mean, I'm thinking in particular the Burnley game, which is called off, correct me if I'm wrong, was it called off roughly 2 hours before kick-off?
Yeah.
That, I'm sorry guys, that is absolutely unacceptable. It's unacceptable for guys and their families and mums and dads and people travelling, and whether they book hotels or booking train journeys and bus journeys. I just think that is the biggest crime of the lot. You're not treating the football fan with the due respect that they deserve.
The issue you got, if you have a 2 week break, right, where do you fit the games in? Because you're going to miss a lot of games over Christmas. It's a busy period. How do you fit the games in? My only way of saying that is, well, look, you look at the Carabao Cup. You say the semi-final has to become now just a one-legged game. The Premier League teams in that, then so there's a midweek sort of fixture you can add to the list. And then do you go with the FA Cup? Do you put the Premier League teams in, fourth or fifth round? So they're not going in too early. So you're adding another couple of weekends of fixtures that you can add to the calendar. Because you've got to fit the games in, because there's a lot of fixtures that you're going to miss, and that's what they've got to figure out. And I think the Premier League are just kind of going along with it, saying, can we carry on? But watching the games, I went to watch Chelsea, completely depleted squad, loads of COVID cases, and they're not the same team. So Liverpool, not the same team. Leeds, not the same team. And as much as we want football to carry on, we want the Premier League to be at its best. And at the moment, when you're seeing Leeds having to put a 15-year-old on the bench because they haven't got enough players, it makes it kind of not the same sort of feeling of what the Premier League is about.